In our headlines on this Tuesday, October 28th, here in South Korea, President Lee Jae-myung is poised to sit down with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump for a second summit on Wednesday, this time here in South Korea, on the margins of the APEC leaders' meeting. And Mr. Trump reiterates his hopes of meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un here in this part of the world if possible, reigniting much speculation about a possible summit this week. Meanwhile, South Korea's economy accelerates faster than expected in the third quarter, rising 1.2% on quarter, led by government stimulus and export resilience. President Lee Jae-myung will be hosting his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump for bilateral talks on Wednesday on the margins of the APEC leaders' meeting in Gyeongju. Now, ahead of that summit, Mr. Trump responded to questions about prospects for a trade deal with South Korea. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon covers his response.
On Monday, aboard Air Force One during his ongoing Asia tour, U.S. President Donald Trump and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent were asked whether the trade deal with South Korea could fall apart.
No, I don't think so, Scott, is it?
No, there are just a lot of details to work out. It's a very complicated deal, and I think we're very close.
But when asked whether it could be done by Wednesday when President Lee Jae-myung and President Trump meet in Gyeongju, he said that is not likely.
I think not quite, but I think the overall framework is done. We're just getting crossing the T's, dotting the I's.
Trump has been saying a deal is close for some time, and there was some hope that an agreement could be made to coincide with a meeting between President Lee and President Trump at APEC. Before departing for Asia a few days earlier, Trump had said, "If South Korea is ready, I am ready." However, a tug-of-war is still underway between the two sides regarding the methods and timeline for South Korea's $350 billion investment in the U.S. Trump was also asked whether South Korea had asked to extend visa quotas as part of the trade deal following the ICE raid in Hyundai's plant in Georgia in September.
No, but you know how I feel. I was very much opposed. Look, when they come in and they're making very complex machinery, equipment, things, they're going to have to bring some people in at least at the initial phase. In that case, it was batteries. You can't just pick people off an unemployment line and say, we just, opened up a $2 billion battery factory. They'll teach our people how to do it.
The U.S. president added that such measures would take time, but that's the way it is. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, Russia's Vladimir Putin sat down with North Korea's top diplomat Yesan-gun at the Kremlin on Monday, ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's arrival here in South Korea. Our Yesan-gun covers that meeting in Russia and Mr. Trump's latest hopes of meeting North Korea's Kim Jong-un.
Russian President Vladimir Putin met North Korean Foreign Minister Yesan-gun at the Kremlin on Monday.
Здравствуйте. Очень рада вас видеть. Благодарна за то, что...
During the meeting, the Russian leader also stressed that relations between the two countries are developing according to plan. According to Russian media, Putin recalled his recent discussions with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, including their last meeting in Beijing, and said the two sides talked in detail about the development of bilateral ties. He added that everything is going according to plan in the best possible way, signaling Moscow's continued effort to deepen cooperation with Pyongyang amid growing international scrutiny. Che began her three-day visit to Moscow on Sunday as part of a two-nation trip that also includes Belarus. Her visit comes at a time of heightened diplomatic activity in the region as South Korea hosts the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit this week. The timing has drawn attention, with speculation over whether another meeting between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and U.S. President Donald Trump could take place on the Korean Peninsula. Speaking to reporters aboard his presidential plane en route to Japan on Monday, President Trump said he would love to meet Kim during his Asia trip, even suggesting he could extend his stay if necessary.
I haven't mentioned it, I haven't said anything, but I'd love to meet with him if he'd like to meet. I got along great with Kim Jong-un. I liked him, he liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
Trump and Kim met 3 times during Trump's first term, first in Singapore in June 2018, then in Hanoi in February 2019, and finally at the inter-Korean border village of Panmunjom in June 2019. As diplomatic signals intensify once again, attention is now turning to whether a new chapter in U.S.-North Korea relations might unfold alongside Moscow's renewed engagement with Pyongyang. 이승재, Arirang News.
In other news, preliminary findings by the central bank show the South Korean economy grew 1.2% on quarter in the third quarter, driven by exports and consumption here at home. Our Park Junan has the latest numbers.
The Bank of Korea reported on Tuesday that South Korea's real GDP grew 1.2% in the third quarter from the previous quarter, marking the strongest growth since the first quarter of 2024. Preliminary growth rates recorded 1.2% in the first quarter of 2024, before falling to minus 0.2% in the second quarter. Subsequently, both the third and fourth quarters in 2024 showed sluggish growth in the 0.1% range. The first quarter of 2025 also saw a setback with a decline of 0.2%. However, following a rebound in the second quarter, the third quarter maintained a growth rate of 1.2%, signaling a recovery trend. The bank attributed the recovery of private consumption and steady exports as key reasons for the strong growth.
The growth was mainly driven by solid exports of semiconductors, automobiles, and petroleum products, along with a sharp rise in private consumption supported by improved sentiment, livelihood recovery consumption coupons, and new product launches. Increased facility investment and a smaller decline in construction investment also contributed to GDP growth.
Compared to the same period last year, real GDP growth in the third quarter is projected to increase by 1.7%. Private consumption grew 1.3%, driven by spending on goods such as motor vehicles and services, including restaurants. Now, this is the highest level of private consumption growth in 3 years. For government consumption, it rose by 1.2%, mainly due to expenditure on goods and healthcare benefits. This is also the highest level of growth in 2 years and 9 months. However, construction investment shrank by 0.1%, primarily due to the continued decline in the industry. Real gross domestic income, which reflects trade-adjusted income, also increased by 0.7%. The central bank said it will closely monitor sectors such as automobiles, as exports to the U.S. have been declining due to tariffs, and will assess how they respond in the fourth quarter. It also highlighted the lingering impact of consumption coupons and uncertainties in construction investment as variables affecting the economy's future growth. Park Jun-han, Arirang News.
There are a number of other international forums taking place during this APEC week here in South Korea. And one such gathering, the Global Green Growth Week's agenda, coincides with that of this year's Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. Our senior correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
Joint efforts for a sustainable future are gaining momentum ahead of the APEC forum in Korea this week, as regional economies prepare to discuss how AI and innovation can be harnessed for the next stage of growth. Global Green Growth Week kicked off on Monday, convening policymakers, experts, firms, and young people from around 100 countries. This year's sessions, held in Seoul and Gyeongju, coincide with APEC in both timing and significance, with over 2,000 people expected to take part online and in person. Major themes range from sustainable artificial intelligence and innovation to green finance and carbon markets, all aligned with APEC's theme of building a sustainable future. The 5-day event began with a focus on youth participation and innovation, with former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon bringing generations together in climate leadership.
We're the future generation of this world, and it's important that we learn about the climate crisis and we can know how to take it on and how to battle this challenge sustainably.
Organised by the Global Green Growth Institute, the week will notably feature a high-level roundtable between the region's climate ambassadors, and an event on Wednesday will commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Paris Climate Agreement reached in 2015 by 196 nations. Since its founding in 2012, GGGI has supported dozens of partner countries in developing renewable energy strategies, carbon pricing systems, and green finance plans to support their long-term sustainable development.
And since 2018, we have been supporting the government of Burkina Faso into its transition towards a green economy. It means supporting the development or the upgrading of policies, better integrating the principle of green growth. But it's also about mobilizing resources, financial resources needed to implement these policies and strategies.
It's a particular challenge in an era of dwindling development assistance budgets. During the week, GGGI will sign 12 new memoranda of understanding with investors, local governments, and philanthropic organizations to expand cooperation on green finance and carbon markets.
I believe that despite all the conflicts among countries and the policy leaders as well, it's really important to remember that climate changes are part of the life of all people around the world.
Exploring solutions through dialogue and forging stronger partnerships, Global Green Growth Week promotes collective action at a time when multilateralism is much needed. Seong, Arirang News.
Security has been heightened in and around the host city of this year's APEC event as Gyeongju welcomes political leaders, economic pundits and corporate heavyweights this week. Our Yesan-gun has details.
Starting Tuesday, security has been raised to the highest level in Gyeongju, the host city of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Ahead of the arrival of key world leaders for the meeting, riot police, armored vehicles, and anti-drone systems have been deployed. U.S. President Donald Trump is set to arrive in South Korea on Wednesday and meet with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung in Gyeongju. In and around the Pomun Tourist Complex, where the summit will be held and many leaders will be staying, police have activated the top Kapo alert, the highest police emergency level. Streets and sidewalks in the Pomun area have been blocked off with rows of barriers and checkpoints. Helicopters and the Army's armored vehicles are also on standby around leaders' lodgings and the Gyeongju Hwabaek International Convention Center, which is the summit's main venue, where a full security checkpoint, tightly controlled and similar to those at airports, has also been installed at the entrance. At the Gyeongju Arts Center, where the CEO Summit event will be held, detection dogs have been deployed to check for any signs of explosive or dangerous goods. The airspace around the venue has been designated as a no-fly zone, with anti-drone and drone interception systems in place to guard against potential aerial threats. Police patrol cars will frequently travel around the summit venue areas, as they also escort diplomatic vehicles through various security road closures. Police are on high alert, as the National Police Agency said it has received 17 advance notifications of planned political rallies around the APEC site this week. During the week of the APEC summit, up to 19,000 personnel will be mobilized each day to ensure security across Gyeongju. Yesan-gun, Arirang News.
And now, beyond business, Gyeongju is a city rich in culture as it was the capital of the ancient kingdom of Silla. That being said, our Park Hyo-bin highlights an exhibition there that shares a glimpse of this heritage.
The host city of APEC 2025 Korea, Gyeongju was once the capital of the ancient Silla kingdom that shaped Korea's golden age of art and culture. Now an exhibition titled Scent of Korea in Silla is underway at the Gyeongju Expo Seolgo Art Museum, bringing the spirit of Silla back to life.
Based on Silla's culture and history, this exhibition aims to share Korea's heritage with the world and shed new light on its historical value.
Upon entry, visitors are greeted by a 5-meter scroll of silver principal Buddha from Seokguram Grotto, flanked by Tabotap and Seokgatap, Korea's most iconic stone pagodas. Each piece is painted with real gold and silver, capturing the spiritual glow of the Silla era. In front, a black pond reflects both the artworks and the viewer, linking past, present, and future. Another section connects tradition with modernity through glass art. Some 250 recycled glass bottles symbolize both stability and Silla's long history of cultural exchange along the Silk Road.
I wanted to revive the shapes of Roman glass that once entered Silla through the Silk Road, using today's glassmaking techniques.
The highlight of the exhibition is the masterpiece by artist Park Dae-sung, the largest work of his 80-year career.
Behind me is Korea Fantasy, a 12-meter-long painting that brings together Korea's most iconic symbols.
Looking closely, it's filled with the essence of Korean heritage, from Hawaii masks to the smile of Silla, all set against a panoramic Korean landscape. Through these works, the exhibition reimagines Silla's flourishing era of culture, trade, and Buddhism, a reflection of how its legacy continues to breathe through the art of modern Korea. Park Hyobin, Arirang News, Gyeongju.
Israel has lifted all remaining emergency measures imposed on Gaza since its war against Hamas began 2 years ago. Israel first declared a nationwide state of emergency after the militant group's appalling attack on October 7, 2023. Since then, the measure has been maintained in the southern region in recent months. The announcement follows the ceasefire brokered earlier this month by U.S. President Donald Trump that continues to hold with relative stability. 2 South Korean men in their 20s have been sentenced to prison for their roles in a large-scale stock investment scam based in Cambodia. The Cheonan branch of Daejeon District Court on Tuesday handed each of them prison terms of 5 years and 6 months for joining a criminal organization known as K9, which lured victims through fake stock recommendation chat rooms. After entering Cambodia via Vietnam, the two worked as managers and translators, helping Chinese ringleaders target South Korean investors. They deceived 25 victims out of more than 3.1 billion Korean won, or some $2.1 million US, by promising returns of up to 300%. South Korea's state-run power company KEPCO has won a major renewable energy contract in Saudi Arabia. According to Saudi Arabia's state news agency SPA, the Saudi Power Procurement Company assigned 5 new solar and wind projects totaling 4,500 megawatts and worth over $2.5 billion US. KEPCO, together with Saudi renewable firm Nesma, will lead the 1,500 megawatt Dawatmi wind power project near Riyadh. Other contracts went to major global players such as Mazda from the UAE and France's EDF and Total Energies. For those of you interested in a farm stay experience, a trip to Yesan-gun County in Chungcheongnam-do province may be one option. Our Cha Yun-kyung tells us why.
A giant structure has been built near the reservoir, namely Yedan-ho Observation Tower, which opened at the beginning of October. The 360-degree view from a height of 70 meters captivates the eyes of the visitors.
I was amazed by its size. The view here is great, too. Our family will have a great time around here.
Right behind the observatory, visitors can find a village for accommodation and a farm, where they can have a hands-on experience of farming and spend the night with their family. Yedan-ho Suspension Bridge, which opened in 2019, has become a must-see attraction for visitors to Yesan-gun County. Visitors can also enjoy the beautiful scenery while riding a train around the reservoir or have a thrilling experience soaring through the air on adventure rides. Yedan-ho Lake is evolving into a multi-experience tourist destination, attracting 50,000 visitors during the recent Chuseok holiday alone.
As the Yerang Reservoir area has been developed into a tourist destination, more visitors have been coming, which is great for us. There are now more things to see and enjoy.
The county expects to boost the local economy by introducing a wider form of tourism, including attractions such as Yesan Market and Toksan Hot Spa. Cha Yun-kyung, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. In his first visit to Japan since returning to office, U.S. President Donald Trump met Japan's Emperor Naruhito. The two met at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo on Monday and exchanged views on global conflicts and peace, with Trump expressing hope to strengthen U.S.-Japan relations. Emperor Naruhito said he was pained by ongoing conflicts worldwide and prayed for peace. While in Japan, Trump will meet new Prime Minister Takaichi for their first bilateral summit, expected to focus on trade, defense, and rare earth cooperation. The talks come as Japan pledges to expand defense spending and invest heavily in U.S. technology and energy sectors. Trump's visit highlights Washington's efforts to reinforce alliances amid growing regional tensions. Aboard Air Force One, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday he would, quote, love a third term in office. Speaking to reporters during his Asia tour, Trump dismissed talk of running for vice president in 2028 as a loophole to stay in office, calling it, quote, too cute and not right. Trump said he hadn't really thought about a third term, but boasted that his poll numbers are the best they've ever been. Instead, he said potential successors could include Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, calling them, quote, unstoppable. Under the 22nd Amendment, U.S. presidents are limited to 2 terms, and repealing that rule would require a constitutional change, something experts say is highly unlikely. Trump's remarks come amid speculation from supporters who claim there is already a plan for 2028. In the Caribbean, Hurricane Melissa has strengthened into a Category 5 storm and is closing in on Jamaica with sustained winds of 175 miles per hour and the potential for catastrophic flooding and landslides. Forecasters on Monday said the storm could be the most powerful ever recorded to hit the island, with a 13-foot storm surge expected to hit the capital, Kingston. Authorities have warned of a humanitarian crisis and ordered mandatory evacuations in flood-prone areas, though many residents are refusing to leave. At least 6 people across the Caribbean have already died from the storm. In Los Angeles on Sunday night, Vogue World Hollywood transformed the historic Paramount Studios lot into a live cinematic runway, merging fashion and film in a star-studded charity event. The show had 7 chapters, each celebrating a different film genre, from Afrofuturism to Gothic westerns. Nicole Kidman opened the night with a musical tribute before stars and models walked the outdoor runway, some wearing original movie costumes. All proceeds went to the Entertainment Community Fund, supporting costume professionals affected by recent Los Angeles wildfires. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Even though it is still October, the air already feels like winter. This morning, the temperature plunged even lower than yesterday, making the coldest this fall in most parts of the country. There were many areas where the temperatures fell below 0, and the first frost and ice were observed mainly in the central parts of the country and inland areas of Gyeongsangbuk-do province. This early winter cold will continue until tomorrow morning and ease off from the afternoon. The daytime temperature in Seoul will rise to 17 degrees Celsius, and the temperature will recover to the average for this time of year. Seoul will start off at 5 degrees tomorrow morning, Daejeon and Daegu at 4 degrees. Daily highs will rise up to 16 to 20 degrees all over the country. Starting from the central parts of the country on Friday night, it will rain around the west on Saturday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up shortly after this break is our daily panel session. And today we touch upon the APEC CEO Summit and more with our group of foreign correspondents based here in South Korea. Thank you for now.